Hello, and it seems to be that this is actually working. OBS has been like kind of screwing me over recently. Um, so I have this diagram drawn here, and it looks like a lot of just random stuff right now. I already made this video, but OBS decided to not record all of it and only record part of it, so I'm making it again. So anyways, I have this diagram, and today I'm going to be talking about rotation. So this is if we have an original x and y coordinates, right? And we want to rotate it by 45 degrees. Uh, 45 degrees. We can rotate it by 45 degrees in this direction in the blue, or we can rotate it by 45 degrees in this direction in the pink. And if we plug our current XY uh, values into these formulas for x prime and y prime, we can get the new values. So if we did, in this case, on negative 45 degrees as radians, or positive 45 degrees as radians, as r in both of these formulas, we would get the new x and y values, x prime and y prime, right here. If we were to put negative radians as r into these formulas, then we would get x prime and y prime right here for the new values for the rotation. And this is the formula for converting degrees to radians. So D is degrees, R is radians. Yep. So positive radians goes this direction, negative radians goes that direction. So, uh, yep. So I can show you just that degree formula, degrees to radians formula. So if I want to figure out the radians of 45 degrees, I can do 45 divided by 180 divided by pi, and then that's how many radians 45 degrees is. So this positive radians would go this way, but if I made this negative, it would go this way in the pink. Yep. All right. So, and then I have some code right here, some like just a function for drawing a circle. I'm adding SDL, initialized SDL here, created a window with the screen width and the screen height, created a render. I'm working with events. If I hit a key, it'll go to end, which is the go-to statement, and destroy the render, destroy the window, quit SDL. I set a draw color. I clear the render, set it to the whole screen to that draw color by clearing. I set the draw color again, draw the circle as red. And yeah, I don't know why I set this draw color third time, but I do, and then I present the render. So if I build that, then run it, boom, you see that we got our circle drawn. And if you're curious, I'm using GCC to build Windows binaries, doing MinGW 64-bit Windows, and that's what the makefile looks like. Yeah, so let's start by drawing our triangle. And I'm going to draw the triangle a little bit differently than how you would expect a triangle to be drawn. You need to render. And what radius? It sounds weird, but we'll need a radius for this. And center. Oops. So, triangle is 3 points. Kind of obvious. So what we're going to do here is we're going to draw an isosceles triangle, which looks like this, right? That's why I do a triangle in the middle of the circle. And each side of an isosceles triangle is equal length. But from this point to this point, it's 120 degrees. So if I'm at this point and then I go to 120 degrees like this, then I'll arrive at this point. And if I am at this point and I go 120 degrees like this, I'll arrive at this point, and so on. If I go at this point, go to 120 degrees to here, I'll arrive at this new point. So that is that. I want to make sure I'm still recording because OBS has been acting stupid. I don't know why my video drivers are up to date. I don't know why it's freaking out. Hopefully I can finish recording this video without any more weird stuff with OBS that I have to work with. 0.0.x equals and for the x we're going to do sine f. We're going to do 0 degrees to start off with, and I'll show you what that kind of looks like. And another thing to point out is that if you look into a math book about these rotation formulas, this negative sign right here would be actually adding instead of subtracting, and this would be subtracting instead of adding. So I flip the signs right here, flip these two signs, because if you look at a coordinate plane in math, y positive would be at the top and y going in the negative value would be at the bottom. But on a screen drawing graphics, negative values are at the top, and then positive values, you get to the positive values as you go down. So that's why I flip those. Right, so sine times radius for x, and then our y would be cosine. Please tell me OBS is not, looks like it's still recording. I don't know. It'll still record, but it has some issue with the codec. I don't know why. And then I could render, draw a line. So the draw line takes a render, and then the first point, x and y value of the first point, and the first x and y value of the second point. So what we're going to do is draw from whatever the center is, center of the screen is, or center of the circle, or I mean triangle we're drawing is, and then we're going to go out from our points just to show off what's happening. So, and then I'm going to go down here, set the draw color to a different color, just set it to all green, draw triangle, render radius. We'll use the same center that our circle is using, and the same radius as the circle. We build it, and something is off. What did I do weird? Points x. Oh, I have to add the center. Plus center.x plus center.y. Boom. There we go. So I did 0 radians. So 0 radians is going to be right here. And we want our triangle to start at the top and not at the bottom. So what we're going to do is go take this point and rotate it by 180 degrees, which is just pi in radians. And if you don't believe me, we can break out our calculator and do that formula I showed earlier for converting degrees to radians. So we want to take 180 degrees, convert it to radians. We do the formula here, and that is pi. See, pi is this, and 180 degrees in radians is the same exact thing. So we can put pi here to move it to the top. Make build. Now it's at the top instead. And it looks like the recording button is still going on. If I hit X, will it mess up? Okay, no. All right. Hopefully it still keeps going. So now we got that first point, and we're going to rotate this by another 120 degrees to get our second point. So this is going to look a little different. We're going to use that first formula that we've seen. Although these two formulas that we've seen to get our new x prime and y prime values. So what we're going to do here do x times, I believe it's sine. Oh, cosine and then subtract for x. Cosine times the degrees we want to rotate by, and I'm going to use our formula here just so you don't get confused. Degrees 120 equals 120 divided by 180 divided by pi. So degrees 120 minus y times a sine times degrees 120 degrees. That's our x value. And this is actually going to be offsetting it from the first point, so we're going to put points. Kind of wrote this wrong. It's offsetting it from our first point to get our second point, so we're going to do that. And it's going to be our y. This will be sine, add, be cosine. And this is going to be points 0.0.y. All right, so we're offsetting, we're taking this first point and rotating it by 100 degrees to get our second point right here. And what we can do is kind of like modify what we did with this draw and draw from like the first point to the second point. Boom, I think that'll work. Yep, so we got our first point. We rotate that point by 120 degrees to get the second point. We draw a line from the first point to the second point. And we can actually do that twice, so I'm going to turn this into a loop here. 0, and we're actually start at 1 because we already got the first point here. And we're going to make this I, or make this I minus 1 for all these values. OBS still recording? Looks like it. Please don't stop. I really hope it just keeps recording. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to make this video again. So from points I minus 1 to I. Boom. And then we're going to need to draw from the third point back to the first point. So we're going to add another draw after this little loop that we did. So from the third point to the first point. Boom, now we got our triangle. And because everything is being offset by this original point, we can actually do one of these. Float, rotate, and just add it here. And if I wanted, I can copy this thing I did here. We could rotate it by, I don't know, like 30 degrees. And our triangle is going to need that rotate, or degree 30, I called it. And now we're going to rotate by 30 degrees. And because it's a positive value, it's rotating, you know, from, it's going this way. And if it's a negative value, it's going to go, you know, that way. So if I make this negative, you can see that we're rotating the opposite way now. So if you want, I can make this spin, change this to rotation, start it off at 0, and remember we said pi is 180 degrees, so what we can do is keep adding the rotation by, I don't know, 0.01, and then if rotation is greater than or equal to pi 180 degrees times 2 is 360, then rotation equals 0. We're going to reset it back to the starting point at that point. And then we could add rotation here. Boom, we got a rotating triangle. So yep, that's all I want to do for the video. Hopefully it actually output.